This is from a new book that I'm working on. It's called Decomposition as Explanation. And it begins with a quote from Gertrude Stein's Composition as Explanation. Can you guys hear in the back? Gertrude Stein, in Composition as Explanation, says, quote, "The time of the composition is the time of the composition." She said it. Decomposition as Explanation. 1. There are always rotten bones and desiccated skin and bloody expectorations and pus and decomposition to think about when it comes to locating the mind and the enveloping steam of the body that has lost the temptation to exist, or that has been crushed by the ceiling that has crumbled from atrophy and has left the bodies it crushes to fight with and against history for a bed and a toilet and a floor amid the overpriced ruins of a civilization starving for collapse, dying for decay, opulent with bodies that have no choice but to piss all over their legs. 2. Everything is the same except decomposition. I see my body the way I see my bank account, diminishing. There are small children who live on my block and eat glass. They eat eggshells from the garbage. They eat nails in the wood from the house that was destroyed after it was foreclosed and its occupants decided to bury themselves underground. They were waiting for an eviction notice when it occurred to them it was better to live in mud than in a world filled with dollar bills that had lost their value. They were living under the porch than they were living in the front seat of the excavator parked in the alley. They were eating their clothes. They were eating the cable television bills they stole out of mailboxes. They were eating their clothes. They were eating the cable television bills they stole out of mailboxes. I didn't mean to read that twice. They stand outside of the CVS pharmacy, the one down there, and peer into my brain as I pick up my sleep medication. I haven't slept for 23 days. I am engaged in the act of translating one voice in my head so it can be understood by another voice in my head. An agent of the literati came to see me and suggested my tongue would be a more useful pedagogical tool if I dipped it in Trader Joe's teriyaki sauce, then chopped it into pieces and shared it with a table full of children who are learning the art of poetry. Have you heard the one about the boy who woke up and found a noose in front of his window? The children in my dreams are screaming. It is understood that everything is the same except decomposition and time. Decomposition and the time of the decomposition and the time of the decomposition. 3. To decompose is one thing. To know you are decomposing is another thing. To know that everything you have ever composed is decomposing is yet another thing. And there is another thing, which is to know that the body and the breath and the thought and the thing that does the thinking and the voice that does the translating of the other voice, inside the thought, inside the thing which does the thinking. To know these things are decomposing, well, it's like making love to an incurable body that will only eat cardboard sandwiches. A Dionysian cloud is trying to assert the existence of others into my mouth. There are boils and masks and historical failures hiding behind the masks. There is a child's mouth and it is stuffed with money. The child is bound to a chair. I see this on the 10 o'clock news. There is a win, a quick win, and the child is bound to the chair, waiting for the data to be calculated. Is it possible to eat myself? The child says, the moment the money is taken out of his mouth. The camera zooms in on his lips. There are tiny green specks and cultural fibroids, and the camera focuses in on his eyes, and inside of them is a website devoted to video clips of people who commit suicide. The time in the decomposition is indistinguishable from the erosion of the mouth. It is indistinguishable from the erosion of the dollar bill. It is indistinguishable from the verb to sink. We are all sinking in the mud. It is the only way to calculate our data, our bodies, our data bodies. Our lovers are data bodies. We need them to quantify our existence. 4. In the beginning there was data. There was bubbling and murmuring data, and later there were quantifiers of this data, which was a subset of universal data, and now there is either quantifying or there is faith. There must be calculation and a robust administration. There is a mathematics of decomposition. By this I mean death and the absence of time. There is a song we sing to our children. We sing it in our data palaces. We sing it to the decomposing bodies that cannot be contained by their frames. We sing it to the leaking carcasses. We sing it to the murmuring ghosts, the murmuring revolutionaries who transformed into bureaucrats once they achieved the destruction of the means of production. There is a song we sing to ourselves when we have no one to calculate our data. We sing 5. A ghostly day in Data Town. We start to sink, we start to drown. Suddenly there were starving bodies there, and in ghostly Data Town the facts were rising everywhere. 6. It is a problem for the child with money in his mouth. He is tempted to exist. It is a problem for the body that eats nails and cardboard sandwiches. It is tempted to exist. It is a problem for the body that laughs at its inability to determine where one life starts and another life ends. It is a problem for the translator who translates the voices inside his own head so that they can be communicated to others. A man walks into a bar and the bartender says, "Why are you gagged? Why are you choking on dollar bills?" The man can't say anything, so the bartender hops over the bar and begins to pull the dollar bills out of his mouth. But they keep coming, and finally, after 10 minutes of pulling dollar bills out of the man's mouth, he pulls out the man's tongue, and next there are lungs and the man's intestines. And the bartender twirls an intestine above his head like a lasso, and the man who had the money in his mouth whispers, "I would love a vodka martini and a round for all of my friends." The bartender twists the intestines, then lassos an immigrant who just walked into the bar looking for work. The bartender captures the immigrant and forces her to wash dishes forever in a kitchen filled with steam and rodents. There's the decomposition, and then there's the distribution of skin, the distribution of bones and distribution of money, the distribution of blood, the distribution of wood and nails and cardboard sandwiches. I have to go now. I just got a text message from my lover, my data body. My noodles have arrived. Let me eat before my voice dies. A slaughtered pig's death on this page. 7. Let us conclude at the beginning. There is really nothing that makes a difference to the decomposing mouth. It rots in public and asks us to rot inside of it. There are mouths that throughout the history of the world of words have been decomposing. Really, everything is the same except the vehicle for decomposition. The train carried the Jews along the River Jordan. The African slaves were transported by helicopter along the Danube. The Jews and the Africans were pieces of meat waiting for the murmurs of the proletariat to subsume their bodies. Decomposition is a thing that decides when it is to be done. It is impossible to distribute your data to bodies when the vehicles for delivery are decomposing. But when the vehicles are not decomposing, it is not impossible. Thus, what is quantifiable is what can be composed, which is the key to what can be decomposed, for nothing changes except decomposition, the decomposition and the alchemy of the quantification of the composition of the decomposition. 8. And then there is now the stupidity of tomorrow.